Hello again guys, it's Carly from the Poetry of Nice, and today I have a tip video for you all about getting the best bargain when it comes to shopping at yard sales and rummage sales. First things first, welcome if you are new here. This is a channel all about reselling online. I currently sell on eBay, Poshmark and Etsy, and I do that while being a stay-at-home parent, so there's a lot of balancing life and work that goes on this channel, and I share things like haul videos, I share sales videos, I share tips and tricks just like this video here. So if that sounds interesting, please do think about hitting that subscribe button down below, and don't forget to say hello in the comments so that I can say hi back. So if you've been watching my channel for any period of time whatsoever, you'll know that I like to source my inventory for selling online, mostly at church rummage sales, and then also some like yard sales and estate sales and things like that throughout the spring, summer and early fall months. I like to do that because it is the lowest cost of goods that I can possibly get for buying as much inventory as I can to list and sell online. Basically, I like to make hay while the sun shines. So I will buy as much as possible and I will squirrel it away. I'll predominantly list the things that are the priority for the season. So shorts, swimwear, that kind of thing right now in spring and summer. And then I will stow away a lot of my fall and winter clothing items so that as that season rolls around and as I basically cannot source from those cheap places anymore because the rummage sales don't go year round, the yard sales don't go year round where I live, I squirrel it all away, and that way I can pull on it and I already have everything pretty much that I need to list for those sort of quiet winter seasons when it comes to sourcing, and I don't have to pay those big thrift store prices basically. Essentially what I'm saying is I like to source this way because it keeps it cheap. So I thought that I would share with you today it's basically some tips of how to get the best bang for your buck when sourcing at these kind of places, wherever you may be. Just because you're at a yard sale or rummage sale, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to pay that price that they've put on the sticker. More than likely there's some room for a little bit of wiggling and a little bit of negotiation when it comes to buying from folks face to face. So my first tip that I'm going to share with you is to bulk buy or to make a pile. I personally have a bag that I go with. A lot of people you'll see will use the IKEA bags because they're huge. This is the bad boy that I use. I'm just going to show you. So it's from the Disney store. And it's huge. It's really, really big. So I share that with you because I take that wherever I go pretty much, especially rummage sales. Yard sales not so much because it might look a little overzealous unless it's a neighborhood sale, and then I do. But I do take it to rummage sales and things, and if the getting is good, I fill that thing to the brim. And one of the reasons that I do that is people tend to look at a huge pile like that, or even at a yard sale when you say, hey, can I make a pile? And you start, putting things together maybe next to where they're sat or wherever they say is appropriate. People tend to look at things in bulk and they tend to give you a discount. At least that's in my experience. Of course, if they don't step up and offer you a discount, this is the perfect time to very politely say to them, since I'm buying so much stuff, do you think you could give me a good deal? So that is my first tip, is be a little bit more outspoken and asking for it, or make that visual pile that they can see how much you are buying. And more than likely they do tend to just round it up to, just give me $10 or whatever it is that they are thinking. My next tip is to beat the heat. And what I mean by that is if it is hot out and you are thinking that maybe it's not a good time to go sourcing, or on the flip side of that, if it's raining and you're thinking it's not a good time to go sourcing, do it anyway. Okay, fair enough, sometimes this can be a little bit of a waste of time, and some of the sales that said that they were going to be there will not be there. They've been scared away by the high temperatures or by the drizzle that may have accompanied them that morning. But the ones that have most likely will have less people coming to buy their items, because buyers get scared away just as much as sellers when the weather takes a turn either way. When it's really, really hot, I have found that a lot of people just don't want to be out in the heat once they've set up all their stuff. They also often don't want to drag all that stuff back into the garage when it's that hot out, and so that's another motivation for them as well. A lot of the time I find when it comes to yard sales that when people have put the effort into taking all of those items out and setting them out along the driveway or the yard or wherever it is for somebody to buy, they really don't necessarily want to have to bring that stuff back in the house, or even sometimes load it up to go take it to the thrift store themselves. And so if it's looking like not a lot of people are going to come buy their items, or if they're just ready to call it a day, that is a great time to sort of make a move, if you like, again, very politely in a very friendly way, and see if they will do you a deal. Or oftentimes, again, they may offer for you to go ahead and take things at a wonderful cheap price just because they're trying to get rid of stuff at that moment. The next one I'm going to mention is to go at the end of the day. So it's kind of like what I just mentioned about going when other people may not be as inclined to go shopping. However, at the end of the day, it's that same thing, right? They don't necessarily want to bring everything back in. Some people do, some people don't mind, and they're willing to hang on to it to see if they can sell it another weekend, and that's totally fine. But a lot of people are just ready to let it go. Just this last Saturday, I went to a yard sale. It was right before they were sort of sitting on their sign, you know, to close up, and they gave me a trash bag and said, put anything you want in it for $3. And I was more than happy with that, and that is not the first time that that has happened. So going towards the end of the day can score you some really good deals. Along with that as well, I find with neighborhood yard sales, oftentimes when it gets to the packing up hour of the neighborhood yard sale, you will find people just pushing that stuff down to the end of the driveway and sticking something on it that says free, come help yourself. Now, there are a lot of people that like to go around and dig through that stuff, so expect some competition if you find a scenario like that, but it's definitely worth sort of giving a little bit of a drive around those neighborhoods if they're on your way home. And even if you think that they have finished, sometimes they haven't and they're ready to make some deals, and sometimes they have and they've just decided to give all of the leftovers essentially away to whoever takes the time to come and pick them up. The next point is kind of jumping off of the back of that, where if they're, you know, reaching the end of the day and things like that, I often start a conversation. I've often usually started up a conversation anyway because I really like to chat to people while I'm out thrifting, but oftentimes I will sort of very gently ask, like, oh, are you going to be having another sale anytime soon? Noting that they have the leftovers. Sometimes they'll say yes, and I'll know that I can come back and I'll ask them, you know, will there be other stuff added? Just kind of chit-chatty. Sometimes they'll say no and that they're just going to be taking it to Goodwill or whatever. That is the time when I, again, super friendly, would jump in and say, you know, if the stuff's good, of course, would you be willing to let me sort of pay you a reasonable amount and take this stuff away for you? Sometimes they even let you take it for free. I'm just saying that it has happened before. Don't expect it. I would not expect it at all, but stranger things have happened. The worst that they can say at the end of the day is no. That just kind of comes with the territory when it comes to haggling. I would say that as long as you are super friendly, super polite, and you don't act like you're trying to scavenge whatever you can for free, people are usually really, really friendly about it. My next tip may be a bit of a weird one, but again, it kind of jumps off the back of the last point. I'm kind of rolling with it here, is to make a friend. That may sound silly. I cannot tell you how many friends I have made simply because I have this accent in East Tennessee, and usually that breaks the ice really easily. But there are many things that can break the ice for you when you meet new people at yard sales or at rummage sales. Just chatting away, just being friendly, being an open book. Oftentimes when you're looking at stuff and you start to talk to them about those items and they can see that you are actually interested specifically in an item, or that you actually care about the item, if they get a sense that you may look after it or want to take it and clean it up and things like that, I have found that I've got some really good rapport with people when they get that idea from me. And of course I'm going to take it home, I'm going to clean it, I'm going to nurture it, and more than likely I am going to sell it online. I don't feel bad for that. I really like recycling and upcycling. That's just kind of what I do. But at the end of the day, just a little bit of like chit chat and things like that, like breaking that ice, just kind of makes it a little bit easier for you when you want to start to do a little bit of haggling or hopefully get a knockdown price on an item. And the last thing that I'm going to say is super obvious, but it's just ask. It's just about haggling, and haggling is one of those things that makes so many of us super, super nervous. I kind of used to think that haggling was like you're either good at it or you're not, and I realize now that that is not the case. I still get anxious when I ask somebody, you know, something's listed for $7, would you do $5? I still get nervous about it. At the end of the day, the worst thing that they can say is no, and that's absolutely fine. That is within their rights, and it's within your rights to decide then if you actually do want the item. Haggling is definitely one of those things that gets better with practice. The more that you do it, the more that you become comfortable. And like I said, getting a little bit of like friendly conversation, a little bit of rapport, breaking the ice beforehand can go a long way when it comes to asking for a discount on items. And that's it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that those tips were sort of useful, sort of interesting. And I would love to invite you to pop your own tips down below about how you might get some really good prices when it comes to shopping yard sales in the spring and summer seasons, or rummage sales, whatever it may be. If you have any tips or experiences to share, please do pop them down below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and come back and say hello in the comments so I can say hi back too, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye you guys.